The wind howled like a wounded beast, tearing at Anna Harper's threadbare shawl as she stood at a desolate Colorado crossroads in the winter of 1885. Her arms wrapped tightly around her two boys, 8-year-old Henry and 6-year-old Charlie, their small bodies trembling against her in the biting cold. Snow stung her face, blurring the world into a merciless white void. 3 weeks ago, she'd buried her husband, John, and now her world had crumbled further. Her in-laws, led by John's brother, Edward Mom, had stripped her of everything: home, inheritance, ornamentatari, even hope, leaving her with nothing but a tattered carpet bag and the silver wedding band on her finger. Anna's chest ached with grief, but her heart burned with a mother's fierce resolve. She would protect her sons, no matter the cost. The crunch of hooves broke through the storm's roar, and Anna's pulse quickened. Fear gripped her. Had Edward's men tracked them already? She positioned herself in front of her boys, her hands trembling but ready to fight. A lone rider emerged through the swirling snow, his broad-brimmed hat crusted with ice. He sat tall on a sturdy chestnut horse, his gloved hands steady on the reins. As he drew closer, Anna saw his face weather-beaten, with lines etched by sun and sorrow. But his eyes were kind, a soft hazel that seemed to see her desperation without judgment. "Sir, ma'am," he said, touching his hat, his voice low but clear over the wind. "You and your boys look like you could use shelter. My ranch is just over the ridge. It's warm, and there's food." He paused, reading her hesitation. "No strings attached. Just wouldn't sit right leaving you out here." Anna's pride warred with her fear. Years of propriety screamed caution. But Charlie's soft whimper and Henry's brave attempt to hide his shivers silenced her doubts. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice cracking with exhaustion. The stranger dismounted, offering his hand. "Name's Caleb Monroe," he said. Anna nodded, clutching her boys closer. "Anna Harper. Sir Mayina Churdibrisis, Sure Siern. These are my sons, Henry and Charlie. What did it rare surried bum?" Caleb's ranch was modest, a log house with a stone chimney, a weathered barn, and a few outbuildings huddled against the wind. Warm light spilled from the windows, and the scent of bean soup greeted them as Caleb pushed open the door. Inside, the kitchen was simple but lived in, with a sturdy table cluttered with books, not the dime novels Anna expected, but volumes of poetry, science, wine, Wichemedisuanchan, and Shakespeare. Caleb cleared the table with an apologetic grin. "Meant to tidy up," he muttered, draping a faded quilt over Charlie's shoulders. My mother made this, kept me alive through worse winters than this." Anna watched him move with quiet efficiency, serving soup to her boys first, his hands careful and unhurried. Henry ate eagerly, his pinched face relaxing, while Charlie clung to the quilt, his wide eyes following Caleb's every move. Anna's heart eased slightly, though her guard remained up. "You've got quite a library, Mr. Monroe, huh? Sorry, kid, pretty sorry, contour," she said, sipping her own soup, the warmth spreading through her chest. "Caleb, please." "Namrasuwin," he replied, a faint smile softening his rugged features. "Books keep me company out here. A man can't work all the time." His words were simple, but Anna sensed a depth behind them, a story he wasn't ready to share. She didn't press. Her own secrets weighed heavy enough. The H. That night, Caleb insisted they take his bedroom, a small space with a narrow bed, more books stacked on a table, and a charcoal sketch of an older woman, his mother. Perhaps on the wall, Anna tucked her boys in, their small bodies curled together under the quilt. "Mama, is this our new home?" Charlie whispered, his voice sleepy but hopeful. Anna's throat tightened. "Just for tonight." "Darling," she said, brushing his hair back. But as she lay beside them, listening to Caleb bank the fire in the main room, a flicker of hope stirred in her chest. For the first time since John's death, she felt a fragile sense of safety. Morning brought the sounds of ranch life, cattle lowing, high rustling, the crackle of a fresh fire. Anna found Caleb in the kitchen, bent over a ledger, his wire-rimmed spectacles perched on his nose. The sight surprised her. He looked less like a rugged rancher and more like a scholar. "Coffee's hot," he said, nodding toward the stove. Anna poured a cup, glancing at his neat columns of numbers. "You keep precise records." The term, she observed. "Have to," Caleb replied, removing his glasses. "Every penny counts out here." Their talk was cut short by Charlie's arrival, still wrapped in the quilt, his eyes bright. "Mama," I smelled bread. Caleb's face lit up. "How about you help me feed the chickens?" Young man, one assured whistle. Earn your breakfast. Tunadudamon, continuation. Charlie looked to Anna, who nodded, her heart warming at his excitement. As Caleb and Charlie headed outside, Anna explored the main room. The bookshelves revealed an educated mind poetry. Farming guides, Bierison, even a worn copy of Euclid's Elements with Caleb's name inside. Dated 15 years earlier. When Henry woke, Caleb took him to see a newborn calf, matching his steps to the boys and pointing out the ranch's features. Anna watched through the window, her chest tightening with gratitude and something deeper she couldn't name. A week later, trouble arrived with the thud of hooves. Anna was sorting beans with Charlie when Caleb's voice called from outside, sharp with warning. Anna, get the boys inside. Through the window, she saw 3 riders approach, their postures stiff with authority. Her stomach nodded had Edward found them. But the lead rider wore a sheriff's star, and his companions, a deputy and a storekeeper, eyed the house with suspicion. Monroe wanted us, Warina 14118. The sheriff, Miss Serum, a grizzled man named Samuel Holt, called out, noticed your chimney's been smoking steady. Unusual for a lone man. Caleb continued mending a fence, positioning himself between the riders and the house. Winter's cold. Jeremy, Sarnanon, sheriff. Been staying in more. The deputy, Derwin, a wiry man with a sharp gaze, smirked. Saw a woman's wash on the line yesterday. Anna's hands clenched, indignation flaring. Caleb straightened, his voice calm but edged with steel. My guests, a widow and her boys, caught in the storm, couldn't leave them to freeze. The storekeeper, Jacob Ellis, clicked his tongue. Charity's fine, Monroe, but taking folks into your home, that's a bit unconventional. Caleb's eyes narrowed. Mrs. Harper and her sons are respectable. Nothing untoward about offering kindness. Sheriff Holt dismounted, his boots crunching in the snow. No law against kindness, but we've had trouble with drifters. You vouching for these folks? The air grew taut. Anna held her breath, one hand on Charlie's shoulder. The sinners on mine. Henry pressed against her side. I am, Caleb said, his voice unwavering. And I'd appreciate you minding how you speak of them. Mrs. Harper's a lady, and those boys are as well-mannered as any in Denver. Something in Caleb's tone shifted the sheriff's stance. Suppose we should meet this lady. Then, Idra Metern, Holt said. Anna squared her shoulders, smoothed her skirts, and stepped onto the porch. Gentlemen, Namalamerton, she said, her voice carrying the polish of her Denver days. I'm Anna Harper. My sons and I are grateful for Mr. Monroe's kindness. Though we won't impose longer than necessary. Holt studied her, noting her bearing and the quality of her worn dress. Husband taken by fever. Anna met his gaze. Yes. My brother-in-law's management of the estate left us with few options. Jacob Ellis shifted uncomfortably. The story of a greedy relative striking a chord. Holt nodded. Welcome to the county. Mrs. Harper, might consider town lodgings when the weather clears. Mrs. Lawson's boarding house takes in respectable ladies. Thank you. Anna said, a hint of frost in her tone. These men had no right to judge Caleb's generosity. After they left, Caleb lingered by the fence, his back rigid. When he turned, Anna saw not anger but a fierce protectiveness in his eyes that stole her breath. She realized then how deeply he'd committed to their safety. A February storm hit without warning, transforming the clear sky into a wall of white. Caleb was teaching the boys about cattle when he spotted the danger. Inside, now, 3 sonetum, he ordered, but Henry, stubborn and brave, shook his head. The new calf still in the far pasture. Caleb checked his pocket watch, a family heirloom, and cursed the timing. Your mom'll have my hide if you get hurt. We'll both go, Henry insisted, his young voice firm. Caleb sent Charlie to warn Anna, then pulled Henry onto his horse. They rode hard, the wind stinging their faces. They found the calf huddled by a fence, its mother gone. As Caleb approached, a gust spooked the horse, and it reared. Henry cried out, losing his grip. Caleb dove to shield him, and they fell together, the watch crunching against Caleb's chest. The horse bolted, leaving them stranded in the blizzard. Caleb pulled Henry close, using his body to block the wind. You hurt? He asked, voice rough with worry. Nah, nah, no. Sir. Sir, Henry replied, trembling but resolute. They stumbled through the whiteout. Caleb's hand firm on Henry's shoulder. Time blurred, but by some miracle. The barn's shape loomed ahead. They collapsed inside. Anna's voice cutting through the storm's roar. Henry, Kshub. She rushed to them, lantern in hand, her face pale with fear. Hush about the calf, she said, checking Henry for injuries. Are you hurt? Her eyes met Caleb's, relief mingling with something deeper. We're fine, Caleb said, though his chest ached. Your boy showed real courage. In the barn's shelter, as the storm raged, Caleb showed Anna the broken watch. My father's, he says, he said, voice heavy, told me to make every minute count. Anna touched the cracked face. You honored that today. Their eyes met in the lantern light, a quiet understanding passing between them. The storm had tested them, but it also revealed the strength of their bond. Caleb realized Anna and her boys had become more than guests, they were his family, filling a void he'd thought permanent. Spring arrived, painting the ranch in vibrant greens. Anna kneaded bread dough, marveling at how hope had taken root. Caleb spread his mother's quilt on the grass, where Charlie practiced letters, while Henry helped with calving, his confidence growing. One evening, Caleb unrolled a faded map of the ranch, showing not just its current boundaries but plans for expansion, a garden, new pastures, even a schoolhouse. Anna's eyes stung with tears. He was planning a future with them. You've thought this through, she said, tracing the map. Caleb nodded, a flush on his cheeks, dreaming, mostly. There are kids in these hills who need learning. Your boys are proof of what's possible. Anna's heart swelled. He wasn't just offering shelter, he was offering a life. The first sign of trouble came with a letter from Edward's lawyers, delivered by a polished Denver attorney. Anna's hands shook as she read the custody petition, claiming she was unfit, living in unbecoming circumstances. Fear clawed at her, but Caleb's steady presence grounded her. He's prepared to be generous, the lawyer said, with fine schools for the boys and a stipend for you. Generous. Anna's laugh was bitter. He wants to take my sons. She faced the lawyer, her voice steel. Tell Edward I have proof he forged John's signatures while he lay dying. I chose not to use it, hoping for peace. But if he pursues this, every court in Colorado will know. Caleb stepped forward, his tone sharp with his educated edge. The Denver papers would love a story about a businessman defrauding his brother's widow. The lawyer paled, promising to convey their stance. After he left, Caleb placed a hand on Anna's shoulder. We'll fight him. The town's behind you now. Anna covered his hand, drawing strength from his certainty. This was their home, and they wouldn't run. By summer, the ranch thrived. Henry's beekeeping venture supplied honey to town, while Charlie's rainfall records helped Caleb optimize crops. Anna expanded the garden, her hands finding purpose in the soil. At the county market, Anna wore a new blue dress Caleb had ordered from Denver, a quiet declaration of their prosperity. The townsfolk whispered, but their stall drew praise. Henry's honey, Charlie's arithmetic, Anna's preserves, ensuring Mrs. Holt, the sheriff's wife, bought 3 jars and invited them to Sunday socials, signaling the community's acceptance. A year after their arrival, Caleb stood before Anna in the quiet of their evening, a marriage license on his desk. I know it's not been long, he said, his voice trembling. If it's too soon, I'll wait, but I want to do right by you and the boys. He opened a book of poetry, his eyes soft. When my wife, Mary, died with our child, I thought love was done for me. You brought life back to this place. Anna, I love your boys like my own. And you're the heart of this home. Anna's tears fell, but her voice was steady. I've been a wife before. I know what it means to trust someone with your heart and your children. Yes, Caleb Monroe. I'll marry you. They embraced, their love a quiet promise forged in shared trials. The wedding was held in the barn, transformed with wild roses and lanterns. Henry stood as best man. Charlie bore the ring with solemn pride. Caleb's vows pledged not just love to Anna, but a home for their family. Honoring John's memory, Anna's silver ring, chosen with care, complemented her gold one, a symbol of new love beside the old. The county celebrated with them, laughter and music filling the ranch. 5 years later, the Reed Ranch was a cornerstone of the community. Henry, now 17, managed a thriving honey business, while Charlie, 15, ran a veterinary practice. Teen Minoanitor. Anna taught at the new schoolhouse. Her lessons shaping young minds. A family journal, one even one chum, begun by Caleb, chronicled their story sketches, pressed flowers, dreams recorded in careful hands. One spring day, a letter arrived from Edward, now widowed and seeking redemption. He offered money for the boy's education and John's pocket watch for Henry. Anna read it with her family, their unity a stark contrast to her old desperation. Do we trust him? Henry asked. Caleb shook his head. The question is, do we trust ourselves to offer grace? They welcomed Edward cautiously, showing him a prosperous ranch and a family unbreakable by past threats. He left humbled, his gifts accepted but his influence unnecessary. That evening, Anna added to the journal, Today, we face the past and chose grace. Our family, born in winter's darkness, has grown into something beautiful. Love waits at unexpected crossroads. In brave hearts and gentle eyes, building a home from life's broken pieces. The journal's pages held their story a testament to hope, second chances, and a family forged not by blood but by choice, thriving in the fertile soil of love. Thank you all for joining us on this heartfelt journey with Anna, Caleb, Poirwam, and their brave boys. We hope this story touched your hearts as much as it did ours. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on more captivating tales waiting to be told. See you next time for another unforgettable adventure together. We'll uncover even more wonders.